के लिए मुंतजिम काबे का पहुँचा सफाई के लिए। और चीरते हैं कल्लाए अचदर को झूले में आज पहली मश्क है खैबर कुशाई के लिए मुंतजिम काबे का पहुँचा सफाई के लिए। ओ से तेगे कासिम रन में घूंघट तो उठा सर लिए लाखों खड़े हैं रूनुमा के लिए मुंतजिम काबे का पहुँचा सफाई के लिए। ओ कहते थे अब्बास मैं सक्का हूँ फौजे शाह का खून के दरिया बहा दूंगा तराई के लिए मुंतजिम काबे का पहुँचा सफाई के लिए। और चौंक उठती थी सकीना नाम सुन कर शाह का जब कभी रोती थी ज़ैनब अपने भाई के लिए मुंतजिम काबे का पहुँचा सफाई के लिए। फातिहा। रो के रोज़े कत्ले अमीर अरब रो के रोज़े कत्ले अमीर अरब बेट पीटो के रोज़े हश्र है ज़रबत के शब बज़ में अज़ा में आके नारो नाज़ा बज़ में अज़ा में आके नारो ना गज़ा गम से हसन हुसैन की हालत अजब पाया जो मैवे बंदगिए बुत-ए-आज़ में तलवार रोज़ादार को मारे नमाज में तलवार रोज़ादार को मारे नमाज में सजदे में शेर हक का दो पारा हुआ एक बार कांपने लगे मस्जिद के बाहर एक बार कांपने लगे मस्जिद के बाहर उबला लहू के हो गई मैं रब खून एक जलजला सा बस हुआ नाजिल जमीन पर गर्दों पे जिब्राइल पुकारा गज़ब हुआ, सजदे में हक के शर ज़मीरे अरब हुआ। गर्दों पे जिब्राइल पुकारा गज़ब हुआ, सजदे में हक के कत्ले अमीरे अरब हुआ। पहुंची जो पाए हजरते ज़ैनब जो ये सदा, पहुंची बगोशे हजरते ज़ैनब जो ये सदा, रोकर जनाबे शब्बरो शब्बीर से कहा, जाओ खुदा के वास्ते मस्जिद में तो जरा, कहता है कोई कत्ल हुए शाहिरा पता, किसने किया शहीद इमाम हिजाज को, बाबा भी तो घर से गए थे नमाज को, बाबा भी तो घर से गए थे नमाज को, रोते हुए विदा हुए के दोस्त ज़ैनब बलाएं लेने लगी रोके ज़ार, बेटों से तब ये कहने लगे शायद आओ मेरे करीब है वक्त ये सुन के रोते रोते दमिल के उलट गए, 12 अली पिसर 12 पिसर अली के कदम से लिपट गए, 12 पिसर अली के कदम से लिपट गए।
बहुत बड़ी सलवात देंगे इंशाअल्लाह। टुमारो जो है कि समझाने और बात खत्म मजलिस ताबूत मौला अली बरामद होगा। वक्त की पाबंदी रखें। मजलिस आज भी ठीक 5:45 में शुरू हो गई थी। आप जिस तरह वक्त से आएंगे उतने आराम से मजलिस से आप हम लोग मुकम्मल कर सकेंगे। आज थोड़ी सी देर की मदद चाहते हैं। बहुत बुलंद सलवात भेजें तालीम मस्ती से मजलिस में शहादत में मौला के आना से अता फरमाएं। बहुत बुलंद सलवात।
नाराए तकबीर, नाराए रिसालत, नाराए हैदरी, सामादे बुलंद सलवात।
Before we begin, please recite Surah Fatiha for your marhumin and for the marhumin of those that provided tonight's iftar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. اللهم اغفرهم وارحمهم واسكنهم بجوار محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يوصينا معه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بحد الهمم ولا يناله غوث الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالسخر ميدان أرض. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أعدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واستعينوا بالصبر والصلاة وإنها لكبيرة إلا على الخاشعين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As you're all aware, we're commemorating the Shahadat of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And yesterday, our lecture dealt with the beginning portions of Khutbat al-Marifat al-Nuraniyah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And this is one of those sermons, this is one of those khutbahs that people do not understand, or this is one of those sermons because it's not found. The whole khutbah is not found in Nahj Balagha. They say that this khutbah cannot be from Amir al-Mu'mineen. When they see that khutbahs such as Khutbat al-Tatanjiyah, Khutbat al-Marifat al-Nuraniyah, Khutbat al-Iftakhariyah, when they see that these khutub of Amir al-Mu'mineen, these sermons of Amir do not exist in this book which claims to have collected the sermons of Amir al-Mu'mineen, then they say that this cannot be of Amir al-Mu'mineen, or else Sayyid Razi would have had it in there. But what they fail to understand is when you open up Nahj Balagha and you start reading it, how do the sermons start? Min khutbatihi, from his khutbahs. Even Sayyid Razi is not rewriting the whole khutbah. Sayyid Razi himself, he's taking those parts of the khutbah that he feels is necessary to convey the message that he wants to convey. Why did Sayyid Razi, why did he compile Nahj Balagha? Why did he put those sermons of Amir al-Mu'mineen in Nahj Balagha? Because of the title, Nahj al-Balagha, the peak of eloquence. Amir al-Mu'mineen wanted to show the world what? The eloquence of who? Amir al-Mu'mineen. But is the eloquence of Amir al-Mu'mineen only and only in those sermons that are in Nahj Balagha? No. No. If you look at a lot of hadiths, did Sayyid Razi compile all of the hadiths from Amir al-Mu'mineen? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But was there not eloquence in Amir al-Mu'mineen's sayings when he gave them? Yes, there were. So when we come to sermons like this sermon that I'm going over today, and inshallah tomorrow, we have to open our eyes and open our minds to what Amir al-Mu'mineen means. Why? Because even Sayyid Razi, even though he did not copy this Khutbat al-Marifat al-Nuraniyah, he took one or two sentences from it. He took one or two sentences from it. If he didn't accept this sermon, then why would he take one or two sentences from it? The fact that he takes one or two sentences from the sermon tells you what? That he himself accepted the sermon. He knew that the sermon was for Amir al-Mu'mineen. Then the question is, why didn't he copy the whole sermon? The reason maybe that he didn't copy the whole sermon was because Amir al-Mu'mineen is doing his own ta'aruf in the sermon. And if he was to copy the whole thing, people would have claimed that Sayyid Razi has become ghali. And that was a big problem at that time. To be given this title of ghali, it was a stigma. And if this title stuck, you would have been killed. You would have been killed. Amongst who? The Shi'as. The Shi'as. Forget the Awam. No, Shi'as. If Shia ulama were to say this person is ghali, he's become kafir, the fatwa would have been he needs to be killed. That was it. Why? Because a lot of people did not understand what Amir al-Mu'mineen was saying. To this day, Khutbat al-Bayan. What do people say? Oh, this khutbah, the sanad is not right. Oh, this khutbah, this can't be Amir al-Mu'mineen's. Look at the way he's describing himself. Amir al-Mu'mineen is not that personality that you can comprehend. You need to first understand that Amir al-Mu'mineen is beyond your comprehension. Once you understand that, and then you start reading his sermons, then you finally understand, if my Ali is this great, then how great must his Allah be? When you finally read those sermons and he finally describes himself, you finally realize, if my Ali is this great. You have to remember, Amir al-Mu'mineen, binisbat ala, he's Ali. Binisbat us, he's Allah. Binisbat ala, he's Ali. Binisbat us, He's Ala. Keep that in mind when you're looking at Amir al-Mu'mineen. Then you'll understand that no, he's nothing like us. You'll read Misbah al-Hidayah. You understand what Sayyid Khomeini meant, what Imam Khomeini meant when he said what? That these individuals, they're not just the mirrors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, they're the most perfect mirrors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're the most perfect. What's the difference between a mirror and a perfect mirror? What's the difference? What's the difference between Al-Yawm Akmaltu Lakum Dinakum and the difference between Al-Yawm Kamaltu Lakum Dinakum? The difference between Akmal and Kammal. Kammal means what? Complete. Akmal, it means not just complete, but perfect. Not just complete, but perfect. Meaning what? That there is no deficiency. There is no deficiency left. So when Imam Khomeini, rahmatullah alayhi, he says that they are the perfect mirrors, that means that there's no deficiency within them. There's no deficiency within them. What are they the mirrors of? He says himself, what do they do? What's a mirror do? It reflects. What are they reflecting? They are reflecting the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what they're reflecting. And that's what Imam Khomeini says, that because they are the perfect mirrors of Allah, they're reflecting the complete and perfect nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the mirror wasn't perfect, for example, Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, he's a mirror of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but not the perfect mirror. Hazrat Nuh, he's a mirror of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the perfect mirror. Hazrat Ibrahim, he's a mirror of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not perfect mirror. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, he's a mirror of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not perfect mirror. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, mirror of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not perfect mirror. There's a difference between being the perfect mirror of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and just being a mirror. And what is that difference? That difference is the difference between Ali and Musa. What's that difference? The difference between Muhammad and Musa. What's that difference? The difference is between Muhammad and Isa. What's that difference? The difference between Muhammad and Adam. Look at what Imam Khomeini is saying. A lot of people, they do Imam Khomeini through what? His revolution. The revolution. The reason he was able to achieve that revolution was because of the aqidah that he had about the Imam alayhi salam. If you attach yourself to that aqidah, you will be able to achieve what he did. Attach yourself to that aqidah. Look at the means. Look at the means. What does Imam Ali alayhi salam says in this khutbah? Because this is what I want to go over today and tomorrow. This khutbah, and then tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to add on to it. What are we going to add on? If you say this khutbah, Amir, we don't even know about this khutbah. We don't know about the sanad of this khutbah. Ulama, they disagree about this khutbah. Then what are you going to do about Zat al-Jami' al-Kabira? Inshallah, we'll go over it tomorrow. Where Imam, the 10th Imam, a Muhammad, a Ali, a Muhammad and a Ali, he himself, he's describing what imamat is. Ziyat al-Jami' Kabira. When he says in that ziyarat, al-haq ma'akum wa fikum wa ilaykum wa minkum. What does that mean? Al-haq. What is al-haq? The truth. Alif Lam. When you say alhamd, it has two meanings. Either there is a specific hamd that you're saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning in Arabic, when you say bab, it means what? Door. Not the Urdu bab. In Arabic, bab, it means door. When you say al-bab, then that's a specific door that you're speaking about. If anyone knows the Arabic. When you say al-bab, that's a specific door that you're speaking about. So what are you doing? You're taking a noun and turning it into a proper noun. When you say alhamd, it's not a specific hamd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you say alhamd here, it's all types of hamd. Every type of hamd is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every type of hamd. Every type of blessing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Correct? Now, when alif wal lam has been put in front of haq, al-haq, maakum, fikum, minkum, wa ilaykum. Al-haq is from you, is with you, is around you, is within you. What is this alif wal lam that has come in front of haq now? If this means every type of truth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one of those truths. If this just means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only and only al-haq, if this just means only and only that haq, then it has a completely different meaning. It has a different meaning. But you need to understand what the Imams mean when they say this. When Amir al-Mu'mineen, in this sermon himself, what does he say? He says, Ya Salman, if you all remember just to quickly, Salman Farsi, Abu Zar Ghafari, they come to Amir al-Mu'mineen, they ask him, Ya Ali, can you tell us about your real nur, Marifat al-Nuraniyah? We want to understand about your real existence, your real essence. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says to them, what? I will definitely tell you too. Why? Because you two are not muqassirin. So I will let you know. And he tells them that anyone that recognizes me with my nur, it's the same as recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyone that's recognized Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has recognized me through my nur. He's recognized me through my nur. He goes on to say what? He goes on to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, what? فَادْعُ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ. Correct. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran that call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with sincere devotion. Mukhlisin. He says that mukhlisin refers to the Holy Prophet. Even if the kuffar do not want to hear it, call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with what? With a complete heart, with a content heart, correct? With a devoted heart. That devotion, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, refers to who? The Holy Prophet. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes on to say, what? Mankind was ordered to seek nothing but to admit to his tawheed. And all were commanded to worship nothing but him alone. And they have been commanded no more than this, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, offering him sincere devotion, being true in faith, to establish regular prayer, and to practice regular charity. And that is the religion. To establish tawheed, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, establish prayer, and give charity, give zakat. That is the religion, right and the straight religion. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes on to say, worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is believing in his tawheed. Worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is believing in his tawheed. Sincere devotion is the faith in Muhammad alayhi salam, and the confession of the prophethood. And he goes on to say that establishing prayers, aqimus salat, aqimus salat, aqimus salat. That aqimus salat is what? It's my wilaya. That aqimus salat is my wilaya. And anyone that has guarded my wilaya has certainly done their prayers. Anyone that has guarded my wilaya, they've certainly done their prayers. Aqimus salat, atu zakat. When you read the Quran, both of these phrases, they come together. Aqimu salat, atu zakat, aqimu salat. In the same sermon, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes on to describe what it means, atu zakat. Give charity, give charity, give charity. Charity, the zahiri meaning, yes, sadaqah. The batini meaning, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, aqimu salat is the acceptance of my wilaya. Aqimu salat. Wa atu zakat. That zakat is the acceptance of my family over everyone else's. The acceptance of the Ahlul Bayt over everyone else. That's what that true charity is, that batini charity. If you don't have that batini charity, what will giving this charity do? If you don't hold that batini salat, what will praying salat over here do? It'll be of no use. What kind of aqidah should you have for Amir al-Mu'mineen? Madinatul Ma'ajis, Sayyid Hashim Bahrani, first volume, The Mujizat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he's going towards Nahrawan. When he's going towards Nahrawan, one of his companions, he tells him, Ya Ali, my brother, in the time of Umar had sent them to war, and my brother was in one of these battles, and he had died here. Can you do something for me? I only have just one wish, Ya Ali. That's it. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes, what's your wish? He goes, can you bring him back to life? I want to see him. Madinatul Ma'ajis, Volume 1, the Mujizat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells him, look, there's no benefit in it for you. There's no benefit in it for you. And because he was a follower of Imam Ali, because he was a staunch advocate, a Shia of Imam Ali, he goes, Mawla, this is the only one thing that I have. I don't want anything else. This is the only thing I want. I just want to see my brother. That's all. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes, okay, if you don't want to forget about this and you want to see your brother, tell me where his grave is. Tell me where his grave is. This man, he takes Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen is still on his mule. He has a spear in his hand. The narration says that he didn't even get off the mule. He didn't even put his hands to the skies to do dua the way Hazrat Isa alayhi salam would do. He doesn't do any of that. Amir al-Mu'mineen just does one thing. He takes the tip of that spear, he puts it on top of that grave. As soon as he puts it on top of the grave opens up. The man, he comes out. When he comes out, the man is speaking a different language. He's speaking a different language. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he looks at him and he says, you are Arab. You're speaking a different language. What's going on? The man says, Ya Ali, it's because of the hatred that I had for you, this has happened, and now I'm in hell. When the brother who wanted this man to come back to life, he hears this, he tells Mawla Ali, Mawla, I don't want to see him, send him back to where he came from. Send him back to where he came from. If you truly have the wila of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and you realize that your brother does not have that wila, even if he was to come back to hell, you should say, because you don't have that wila, I don't even want to see you. Go back to that hell that you were in. This is what this brother is doing. He basically told them, go, send them back, I don't want to see him. This is the type of wila an individual should have. If their family doesn't have that wila, I don't want to see them. There's another narration, but inshallah, that narration tomorrow, when Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes and talks to Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. But in this narration, Amir al-Mu'mineen, what does he say? He says that batini namaz, that batini salat is me. That zakat, that refers to what? That refers to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. If we were to take the zahiri meaning of zakat, that's true that we should give zakat to the Muslimin. Do the Ahlul Bayt, do they need any type of charity? No, they don't. No, they don't. The khums, do they need khums? No, they don't need khums. Why did they accept khums? Why did they accept khums? Mufazzal bin Umar, one of the most devout companions of Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He comes to the Imam with 2 bags of khums. The Imam, he looks at Mufazzal and he tells Mufazzal, we don't accept this because we're in need of it. We don't accept this because we're in need of it. We accept it, why? Because by you giving us this, your amal have become accepted in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By you giving this, your amal have been accepted. If you want your amal to be accepted in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give khums. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes on to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. Seek assistance through sabr and salat. Seek assistance through sabr and salat. He goes on to say, sabr is Muhammad, salat is me. Seek assistance to sabr and salat. Sabr is Muhammad, salat is me. But he goes on and does the tafsir of the next part of the verse. What does it say? وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِئِينَ. Not وَإِنَّهُمَا. Not sabr and salat both. وَإِنَّهَا, only one of them. Which one? Salat. Salat is a very difficult matter except for those that are khashi'een. The wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen is a very difficult matter except for those that are khashi'een. That's the wilayat of Amir. That's the tafsir of the Quran by the tongue of Lisanullah. This is where we should be getting our tafsir from. This is the aqeedah that we should have of our own. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes on to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's declared what? Indeed, that this is really difficult to comprehend. Our amr, our commands, our wilaya is difficult for people to comprehend except who? Except that they are a very close angel or a mursil prophet or one of those individuals who have truly been tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means what? That means that any individual that accepts the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, understands the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, understands Amir al-Mu'mineen through his nurani self, they've understood Amir al-Mu'mineen the same way Hazrat Ibrahim understood Amir al-Mu'mineen. The same way Hazrat Isa alayhi salam understood Amir al-Mu'mineen. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. If you understand Amir al-Mu'mineen in that way, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes on to say, there's some phrases, inshallah, we'll get to it. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes on to say that, remember that Muhammad is the master of all the people that are gathered on the day of resurrection. And I am the master of resurrection itself. I'm the master of resurrection. What do we read? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Maliki Yawmiddin. There's no doubt that He's Maliki Yawmiddin. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says that I am Hakim Yawmiddin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala owns the day of judgment, but when it comes to judging, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given that power to Amir al-Mu'mineen. He's given that power to Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's why there are so many narrations that say what? That Amir al-Mu'mineen is the one who's going to differentiate between Nar and Jannah. He's the one who's going to differentiate between the people that go to hell and the people that go to Jannah. Maliki Yawmiddin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, always remember that. But that Malik, that owner, tell me something. If I own something, and I give that to someone else, I have a right to ask for it back, do I not? Do I not? Yes, I do. But if I ask for it back, wouldn't I feel a bit ashamed for asking it back because this person wanted it? This person wanted something. For example, when we give a loan to another mu'min, I'm not saying you can't ask for loans back. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you so much that you can give to another mu'min, if you're a true mu'min, what would you do? You wouldn't put any stipulations on when that loan should be repaid to you. If you're already well off, correct? And that is qarz al-hasana. There's a difference between qarz and qarz al-hasana, and I don't want to get into that. When it comes to qarz al-hasana, there is no what? You can give it back whenever you're able to, whenever you want to. Give it back whenever you want to. Whereas when it comes to regular qarz, no, there's a whole contract. You will give it to me on this day. If you don't give it to me on this day, then it's going to be considered late, and this will happen. Correct? With qarz al-hasana, it's not like that. Why isn't it like that with qarz al-hasana? Why? Because you know that this person that you're giving to is a mu'min. Is a mu'min. You know that this person does not have anything of their own. But now that you've given it to them, isn't that theirs to use and do what they want with it? If I give someone $1,000, would I put conditions, you use the money like this, like this, like this? No. They wanted $1,000, I gave them $1,000, they will use it the way that they see fit. That's it. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that Imam Ali alayhi salam, he's hakim yawmiddin, he's the judge on the day of judgment, then he has the right to judge the way that he sees fit. Why? Because his judgment is the judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the time of Amir al-Mu'minin, they came to Amir al-Mu'minin and they said, Ya Ali, we've committed this crime. We want the punishment right now. Why? Because you are the judge. You're the judge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want that punishment here. This was Amir al-Mu'minin. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll delve further into this khutbah. I haven't even started the surface. This is basically maybe 3-4 paragraphs of the sermon of Amir al-Mu'minin. It's taking me 2 days just to talk about 3, 4, 5 lines of this sermon. We haven't even got to the part where Amir al-Mu'minin, he says what? That I was the one who was at Sirat al-Muntaha. We haven't gotten to the part where Amir al-Mu'minin, he talks about how when the Holy Prophet went to Miraj, I was the one behind the veil. We haven't even gotten to that point. And when we do get to points like that, this is kufr, this is shirk. No. If you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is behind that part, then that's shirk. Truly, if you believe that it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala behind that part, then that's shirk. Because you've basically confined Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've confined Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where? Behind that parda. If he was behind that parda, was he not in front of the parda? This is why you've confined him. So how does it make sense? Behind was Ali, in front was Muhammad. That's how you have unity. The nur of Muhammad was meeting the nur of Ali. So what happened? That nur that separated when it was coming down to earth, it went back up and it united again. I don't understand. People do not, if they do not understand the reality of Amir al-Mu'minin, if they don't understand, do not go around calling people ghali, this, that. No. Everyone's at a different level. That's it. Everyone's at a different level. When it comes to Amir al-Mu'minin, like I said, when it came to the punishments, Amir al-Mu'minin gave them to who? Those individuals that truly deserved it. He gave it, he punished them. Did anyone deserve to be punished more than the person that strikes his own Imam? The person that struck his own Imam. When Ibn Muljim La'natullah alayh, he struck Amir al-Mu'minin, what does Amir al-Mu'minin say? He says, was I not a good Imam to you? Ibn Muljim, a person like him, he starts to cry. And he says, Ya Ali, I had to do it. Amir al-Mu'minin, he looks at this culprit. He sees that his hands have been tied and he says to Imam Hassan, Ya Hassan, loosen his hands. Why? Because the rope is buried deep into his skin. And it's bleeding. I don't want to see that. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah. Sallallahu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sallallahu alayki ya Siddiqatu Fatima. Sallallahu alayka ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Sallallahu alayka ya Gharib al-Ghuraba. Ya Aba Abdullah al-Husayn. Brothers, sisters, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he's come back to the house now. It's the 20th of Ramadan. Do you know what happened on the 20th of Ramadan? The doctor was already called and the doctor tells them that the poison is already affecting the body. And the only cure for this poison will be milk. The only cure for this poison is milk. All of Kufa has now come to the doorstep of Amir al-Mu'mineen because they've realized that the cure for this poison is milk. They've come to the doorsteps of Amir al-Mu'mineen with milk in their hand. There's a knock at the door. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he looks at Abu al-Fazl Abbas alayhi salam and he says to him, Ya Abbas, check who's at the door. Abbas, he goes to the door and he says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, the people of Kufa have come here with milk. What do you want me to do? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, Ya Abbas, bring that milk. But as Abu al-Fazl Abbas alayhi salam was bringing that milk, what was Amir al-Mu'mineen doing? He had tears in his eyes. Why did he have tears in his eyes? Because Abu al-Fazl Abbas alayhi salam, he's able to bring that milk to him today. Tomorrow his son Hussein would be asking for water and Abbas would not have arms to go take that water to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Brothers and sisters, today is the 20th. Abu al-Fazl Abbas alayhi salam, he brings that milk to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he starts to cry. When he starts to cry, Abu al-Fazl Abbas alayhi salam, he starts to cry and he asks him, oh father dear, why are you crying? He tells him that this is why I'm crying. Ya Abbas, you will come to know very soon. You'll come to know very soon. Brothers, sisters, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he's taken all of the kids and one by one, he's put them in the hands of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he starts to cry and he says, oh father dear, you're leaving me now. Prophet Rasulullah, he left. My mother left, now you're leaving me. Whose hands are you leaving me in? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he takes all of the kids one by one, he puts them in the arms of Imam Hassan and he says to all of them, from today on you will obey my son Hassan. But Abbas, he's waiting by the door and he hasn't been called. When he hasn't been called, he runs inside and he goes and tells his mother al-Baleen what happened. al-Baleen, she comes out. When she comes out, she looks at Amir al-Mu'mineen and she says to him just one time, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, can I ask you a couple of questions? And he says, Ya al-Baleen, what is it? She said, my son Abbas, he's complained to me, he's crying. Why is he crying? You took all of your children and one by one you gave him to Imam Hassan, but Abu al-Fazl Abbas, you left him by the door. He's crying and he's asking, have I done anything wrong? al-Baleen, she says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, has Abbas done anything wrong? He says, no, al-Baleen, he hasn't done anything wrong. Ya al-Baleen, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, have I done anything wrong? Ya al-Baleen, neither have you done anything wrong. Then, oh, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, why did you not give Abbas into the hands of Hassan? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Ya al-Baleen, go call my son Abbas. When he calls Abbas, he takes Abbas and he says, Ya Abbas, you were born for the sake of my son Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Come here. And he takes Abbas's arms at that time and he puts his arms on the hands of Imam Hussein and he tells Abu al-Fazl Abbas, Ya Abbas, there'll be a time when this brother of yours, he will be Musafir. There'll be time when this brother of yours, he will be in the land of Karbala. He will be alone. I want you to promise me that at that time, you will sacrifice your life for me and for myself. And Abu al-Fazl Abbas, what does he do? He puts his hands on the feet of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam and he promises his father this. Brothers, sisters, it's the 10th of Ashur. There's no one left. Abu al-Fazl Abbas, he's asking for permission. He's not being given permission. Finally, when Sakina, she comes and he says to Sakina, go ask your father for permission. He goes and he asks permission to get water. When he goes to get that water, you all are aware that one of the arms of Abu al-Fazl Abbas gets severed. The other gets severed. When he falls to the ground, what does Abu al-Fazl Abbas say? He says, Ya Abu Abdullah adrikni. Oh, my master Abu Abdullah, please help me. When Abu Abdullah comes to Abu al-Fazl Abbas's, when he comes to his body, what does he do? He puts Abbas's head on his knees and he says, Ya Abbas, now my back has been broken. Ya Abbas, now the enemy, they're rejoicing about everything that's happened to me. Abbas, he says two things. He says, Ya Abu Abdullah, I'm sorry to trouble you like this, but can I trouble you one last time? And he says, what is it, Ya, oh my brother? He says, Ya Abu Abdullah, oh my master, I had known from my mother that when I was born, I looked at and I gazed at your face. I want to gaze at your face one last time. There's blood that has been pulled in one of my eyes. There's an arrow in the other eye. I don't have any arms. Can you take off the blood so I can gaze at your face? Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wal-la'natullahi ala qawmil kafirin. Matam Ali.
Ya Ali Mawla, Ya Ali Mawla, Haidar Mawla, Ya Ali 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 Mawla. या अली मौला, 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 या अली मौला।
का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोहम्मद के अलम दार का मातम कर लो मोहम्मद के अलम दार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो कुड़ाओ के अली शेर खुदा मार गए कुड़ाओ के अली शेर खुदा मार गए अहमद मुख्तार का मातम कर लो बाजुए अहमद मुख्तार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो पाकुड़ाओ के अली शेर खुदा मार गए पाकुड़ाओ के अली शेर खुदा मार गए बाजुए अहमद मुख्तार का मातम कर लो बाजुए अहमद मुख्तार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो जो के पांचों में भी है 12 इमामों में भी है जो के पांचों में भी है 12 इमामों में भी है सारे नबियों के मददगार का मातम कर लो सारे नबियों के मददगार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर रार का मातम कर लो जो के पांचों में भी है 12 इमामों में भी है जो के पांचों में भी है 12 इमामों में भी है सारे नबियों के मददगार का मातम कर लो सारे नबियों के मददगार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है दर कर जामे शीरी अपने खातिर को दिया जिसने के जामे शीरी कौसरी जाम के मुख तार का मातम कर लो कौसरी जाम के मुख तार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है कर कर तार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो सब जाते तार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है कर कर तार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है कर कर तार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है कर कर तार का मातम कर लो मिलके जिब्रील के उस ताज का कुर्ता दे दो मिलके जिब्रील के उस ताज का कुर्ता दे दो साहिबे वार का मातम कर लो साहिबे वार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो है कर कर वार का मातम कर लो मोमिनो ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया उम्मत 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 ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया इमरान दियाल नूफिया ने परदेस यतीम बनाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया इमरान दियाल नूफिया ने परदेस यतीम बनाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया ऐसा दल दुनिया दा जिदे सामने आदल भी झुक जावे जिदे सामने आदल भी झुक जावे जिन्हें कहा के रब भी कातिल नू है अपना नाम पिलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद त्योहार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे
जिनका के दारत भी कातिल नू है अपना दाम पिलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया जेड़ी एक ज़रदत भी भारी है सकलैन दी कुल इबादत तो सकलैन दी कुल इबादत तो कुल्ले ईमान दिखावे कलमा गुमान गिराया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया इमरान दियाल नूफिया ने परदेस यतीम बनाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया जेड़ी एक ज़रदत भी भारी है सकलैन दी कुल इबादत तो सकलैन दी कुल इबादत तो कुल्ले ईमान दिखावे कलमा गुआन गिराया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया 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 जिद सदके बच तौहीद गाए अत कलमा पाक मोहम्मद दा अत कलमा पाक मोहम्मद दा उस नूर दे पाक खजाने दा विच मस्जिद खून बहाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया इमरान दियाल नूफिया ने परदेस यतीम बनाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया जिद सदके बच तौहीद गाए ते कलमा पाक मोहम्मद दा ते कलमा पाक मोहम्मद दा उस नूर दे पाक खजाने दा विच मस्जिद खून बहाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया इमरान दियाल नूफिया ने परदेस यतीम बनाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद दीवार चलाया जेड़ी एक ज़रदत भी भारी है सकलैन दी कुल इबादत तो सकलैन दी कुल इबादत तो कुल्ले ईमान दिखावे कलमा गुआन गिराया उम्मत ने सजदे दे तौहीद ते वार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद ते वार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद ते वार चलाया जिदे सदके बच तौहीद गाए अटके मां पाक मोहम्मद दा अटके मां पाक मोहम्मद दा उस नूर दे पाक खजाने दा विच मस्जिद कौन बहाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद ते वार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद ते वार चलाया इमरान दी आल नू कूफियां ने परदेस यतीम बनाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद ते वार चलाया उम्मत ने विच सजदे दे तौहीद ते वार चलाया जिदे सदके बच तौहीद गाए अटके मां पाक मोहम्मद दा अटके मां पाक मोहम्मद दा उस नूर दे पाक खजाने दा विच मस्जिद कौन बहाया मुतवज्जे ज़ियारत अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मदिन व आले मुहम्मद अस्सलामु अलैका या रसूल अल्लाह अस्सलामु अलैका या हबीब अल्लाह अस्सलामु अलैका या रहमतुल आलमीन अस्सलामु अलैका या खातिमुन नबीयीन अस्सलामु अलैका या अमीरुल मोमिनीन अस्सलामु अलैका या वसी रसूल रब्बिल आलमीन अस्सलामु अलैका या अबुल आइम्मत व मादर रसाला अस्सलामु अलैका या सय्यदतुन निसाइल आलमीन अस्सलामु अलैका या उम्मुल आइम्मत अल मासूमीन या फातिमत ज़हरा अस्सलामु अलैका या बकीयत अल मोमिनीन अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिस रसूल रब्बिल आलमीन अस्सलामु अलैका या हसन इब्ने अमीर अल मोमिनीन व इब्ने सैयद अल वसीन अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू अस्सलामु अलैकुम या इबादिल्लाह अस्सलामु अलैकुम या इब्न रसूल अल्लाह अस्सलामु अलैकुम या इब्न अमीर अल मोमिनीन अस्सलामु अलैकुम या इब्न फातिमत ज़हरा सय्यदतुन निसाइल आलमीन अस्सलामु अलैकुम या इब्न खदीजत अल कुबरा उम्मुल मोमिनीन अस्सलामु अलैकुम या अंसार दीन अल्लाह अस्सलामु अलैकुम या अंसार रसूल अल्लाह अस्सलामु अलैकुम या अबुल फजल अल अब्बास इब्ने अमीर अल मोमिनीन अस्सलामु अलैकुम या अब्दुस सालिह अल मती अल्लाह व रसूलुहु अस्सलामु अलैकुम या अफजल अल शुहदा अस्सलामु अलैकुम या जमीअ शुहदाए करबला अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू अस्सलामु अलैकुम या गरीब अल गुरबा अस्सलामु अलैकुम या मुइनुज़ ज़ुफ़ाए वल फ़ुक़रा अस्सलामु अलैकुम या शम्स शमूस अस्सलामु अलैकुम या अय्युहल मदफून फिल अर्ज़ तूस अस्सलामु अलैकुम या इब्न मूसा रज़ा अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू अस्सलामु अलैकुम या मौलाना या साहिबिल असर व ज़मान अस्सलामु अलैकुम या खलीफतर रहमान अस्सलामु अलैकुम या इमाम अल इंस वल जान अस्सलामु अलैकुम या शरीक अल कुरान अस्सलामु अलैकुम या क़ाम अल कुफ्र व तुग़यान अस्सलामु अलैकुम या दाफ़ि अज़ ज़ुल्म वल उद्वान अस्सलामु अलैकुम या हुज्जतुल्लाह अस्सलामु अलैकुम या बक़ियतुल्लाह अजल अल्लाहु तआला फरजक सल्लल्लाहु तआला मखरजक व ज़हूरक अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू लब्बैक या बक़ियतुल्लाह नाराए हैदरी